Who are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas toys past.
My past?
No, toys past.
Figures.
Kohdok, you will be visited this December by 3 ghosts, and you will perform 3 reviews. One about the past toys, one about toys in the present, and one of toys yet to come.
Can't you guys all, just come at once and we can get this over with?
Do you honestly think you could edit all of that together?
No, probably not.
Well, good luck to you, Kohdok. Here is your first assignment. Toodaloo!
Whoa. I didn't think I'd ever see this again. Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here, and it looks like I'm going to be doing a Christmas Carol parody this year for December. So we're going to be looking at toys from the past, toys that are coming out in the present, and we're going to take a look at some stuff coming out in the future. That's kind of be an interesting assignment. Anyway, this time we're going to have to go back in time about 10 years. 2002 was a dynamite year for entertainment. Pottermania had crept its way out of the Chamber of Secrets, the Fellowship of the Ring was halfway done with their journey, and Spider-Man was beginning to find his swing. Though, admittedly, Star Wars was at kind of its lowest point. Pokemon was out as a fad thanks in part to the incredibly bizarre third movie, but a couple of brand new games called Yu-Gi-Oh! And Beyblade had just appeared on the scene in North America to take its place. And of course, how could we forget about LEGO, one of the standards of childhood and one of my Hall of Fame toys from last year. The previous year had seen the release of Bionicle, one of LEGO's most famous lines. 2002 was a great year for Bionicle. The Borak had invaded and the Toa Nuva made their first appearance. I still have my custom Taumaru Nuva from around that time, though I admit I've upgraded him a few times with a swiveling head and a backpack, but it's still about the same. Yep, all was good in the world of Bionicle. However, many have forgotten that LEGO was actually a mixed bag in 2002, as it was the same year that they released another new action series that they had some fairly high expectations for. Now, I admit I forgot to mention LEGO on my merchandise-based entertainment rant, and that was pretty stupid of me, so I guess I'm going to be fixing some of that now by talking about an obscure LEGO series that I'm sure a lot of people have forgotten about. That series is going to be Galidor. Galidor is sorta LEGO's Redekai, widely seen as the company's biggest bomb and worst series. Galidor takes place in an alternate galaxy called the Outer Realm, a bunch of planets connected together through special gates which are operated with objects called maps. The aliens in this realm can also do a special trick called glinching, where they can exchange limbs with each other. An evil being called Gorm secretly unleashed a computer virus that rendered all maps useless and shut down travel through the Outer Realms, leaving many stranded. He then used the resulting panic to take over. The action starts when a kid from Earth named Nick Bluetooth discovers the lone, still-working map in his bedroom. Galidor had everything it needed for an all-inclusive approach short of its own card game. It had toys, it had a TV show, it had an online experience, and it had a video game or two. It had a huge launch with big displays set up in all the major toy stores and a website that almost dwarfed Bionicle's. The toys were a bit of a departure from LEGO's usual fare in that they more resemble action figures than LEGO sets, but they are still technically building sets that can be put together and allow one to simulate glinching by swapping parts around. This makes it easy to make many different combinations between characters and create monsters and characters of your own. You could even swap the hair around on a few characters. Looking good, Euripides! They even did a promotion with McDonald's using some toys that had kind of a smaller version of this gimmick. The basic figures come with one character and maybe a weapon or some extra glinch parts. Simple enough, but some people weren't too happy about paying $10 for a set that only had like 11 or 12 pieces in it. Although, you gotta admit it's kind of hilarious in hindsight seeing what LEGO wants you to pay $10 for these days. There were also deluxe action figures that were like the basic figures with some added parts. Then we get into the Ultra figures. At $20, the Ultra figures included either 2 characters or one really big one. Which brings me to my personal favorite set, the Oni. Yeah, I know, I call it O-Oni. If they wanted it pronounced Uni, they'd have put some U's in it somewhere, and I mean, it never appeared in the show, so I don't really know what the pronunciation is. Anyway, the Oni is a huge, menacing, bone-crushing insectoid monster with giant teeth. It's like Modulok on steroids. Anybody even remember Modulok? Although I admit I bought it on clearance and it was like $5, this was my first Galidor set and boy did I love it. The way the Oni looks is kind of what makes you want to go crazy with what you can build with these things. I still don't think there's a clear consensus on how it's supposed to look. Either way, for the price of a Transformers Voyager figure, this thing is loads of fun. There's also the Egg, a fancy spaceship which the characters use to travel around. The Egg has a few detachable leg and wing parts and seats one. I guess they couldn't get the physics-defying interior of the actual Egg into toy form. The original design for the Egg also involved having the leg and wing parts being interchangeable with the other figures, but for whatever reason they opted to have this kind of rubber connection rather than the peg and post connection you see on the regular toys. Otherwise, it can act as a carrying case, and you can stuff about 5 dismantled basic figures inside with little problem. And then we have the granddaddy of them all, the Keck Powerizer. The Keck Powerizer is an energy-enhancing suit that has all sorts of electronic features. While I couldn't get one for the show, I did find some old footage about it.
Feel weird.
Okay. The Keck Powerizer has an LCD screen on the back of it which allows people to play special games on it and download more off of the internet. Apparently it could also detect things that were happening in the show. Wasn't there a rash of those kinds of things for a while? I mean, like Captain Power had the light guns and the Batman had that Batwave sound gimmick. I don't really think they actually work too well, and nowadays probably something a toy with a gimmick like that would probably connect to the internet. I'm not sure how well it works since I don't have the Keck Powerizer, but apparently the games that unlock the bonus content on it can still be found on archive.org. The price for this monster? $60. Another part of the online experience was the game Galidor Quest, which used the old Shockwave plugin. Galidor Quest is kind of like Elder Scrolls or Fallout, where you create a character from one of several races, you run around exploring the Outer Realms, solving puzzles, and participating in challenges. Clearing challenges against another being gave you the chance to glitch arms or legs with it, which affected your stats. This aspect gave the game an interesting problem-solving gimmick, where if one was lacking in the stat needed to clear a challenge, one could backtrack and swap for some limbs that would give them the necessary power needed to clear it. It was sort of a single-player game, or kind of like a non-MMORPG, although they did have a little PvP at the end. The game was loads of fun, and I played it all the time. Sadly, I can't show you guys a lot of the good parts because the game keeps on crashing when I try to play it on the website now. I admit I was a little disappointed that the Oni turned out to be just kind of this little spindly thing rather than the giant monster I was imagining. And then, of course, there's the TV show, which aired on Fox Kids. The TV show centers around Nick Bluetooth and his friend Allegra, who get swept away by the Egg into the Outer Realm in order to fight Gorm and open the gates of Galidor. Once in the Outer Realm, Nick discovers he has the unique ability to glitch basically anything he wants without having to actually touch or exchange it, basically creating new things out of thin air. They are joined by Jens, a cyborg technician, Euripides, a frog-like psychic, and Nepal, a proud ice warrior turned midget by some sort of bomb. So we have our hero, the chick, the smart guy, the mentor, and the brawler/annoying little guy. They travel around in a high-tech spaceship and investigate a mysterious energy source and... Wait a minute, haven't we seen this? The show is live action, but uses a lot of computer-generated content, and like a lot of computer-generated content at the time, it was kinda bad. A lot of the show is shot on green screen, which is why Euripides is sort of an ugly orange rather than green like his toy, because, you know, if you wear green in front of a green screen, this happens. As for the show itself, being live action with puppets and costumes, it's sorta like Power Rangers. Like other bad cheese, it can be an enjoyable sort of camp if you can get in the mood for it. Another thing of note is, aside from Nick doing it a bunch, not much glitching is actually shown. Odd, considering how important it's supposed to be in this universe. The show claims it went on for 2 seasons, but seeing as Season 1 was 16 episodes and Season 2 was 10 episodes, that adds up to 26 episodes, which is 1 typical season for anything else, so yeah, it basically ran 1 season. Of course, at the end of this alleged 2nd season, after the gates of Galidor are finally opened, a cliffhanger is thrown at us like many shows seem to be wont to do when they are uncertain whether or not they will be renewed.
It's not over, Nicholas Bluetooth. For you... or your father.
Well, don't celebrate too soon, Hedgehog. Now, it's my turn.
Galidor is not renewed, partly due to poor sales and high costs, but also due to the fact that its venue, Fox Kids, caved just a few months later. Granted, the writing was so-so and there were plot holes large enough to drive a Star Destroyer through, but it's otherwise a harmless show. While the online game was actually pretty good, the show was meh, and the toys, aside from the Oni, were also meh, which led to it sliding away in its first year. This is why I refer to it as LEGO's Redakai, because it was a brand new idea with all sorts of huge expectations on it generated by some hubris, but then it managed to become a spectacular bomb and is actually considered LEGO's biggest bomb in history. Fortunately, it wasn't too tragic a loss. I mean, Bionicle didn't get dragged down with it, and LEGO really paid attention to what they did wrong. Per Hewler, a bigwig at LEGO, theorized that Galidor failed because it was just too big a departure from what LEGO is known for. LEGO has since shifted their business model and focused on franchises that connect more to the LEGO idea, and frankly, they're better off for it. Even though it's known as a pretty bad series, I admit it, I liked Galidor when it was out, although I admit when it first came out I thought it was kind of silly and expensive and I kind of scorned it like pretty much everybody else, but I really enjoyed the online game, and once the toys were put on clearance and I started buying them, I actually kind of enjoyed them. I never watched the show when I was younger, but I imagine that spared me from a lot. So, I found parts of Galidor that I liked, even though I knew it wasn't going to last. It's one of the reasons that when I level criticism at something, I try to avoid aiming at the fans, because frankly, that's just not fair to them. I got to watch the heartbreak that the Redakai fans encountered as Spin Masters slowly faded away from them, and honestly, I feel pretty sorry for them. So Galidor kind of stands as a testament to what happens when a company gets too cocky, and a lot of other companies can learn, frankly, from what happened. Fortunately, LEGO has moved on, and something like Galidor will probably never appear on this planet ever again. Hopefully other toy companies will get the message, and next year I won't really have to level much criticism at anything, because there will be nothing but really awesome toys coming out. Anyway, that's Galidor, and next time we'll be getting into something big. I mean, really big. You might even call it giant.